Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show, and today we're going to do a little product review. We've got a brand new toy and it's called Deeper. Now I've never actually heard of this sort of product before. I think it might be the first of its kind, and what it is it's a castable sonar device. Now I bet some of you out there are thinking, hold on, castable sonar device? Don't you usually use those on boats? Not the case. We've got the brand new product. We're going to unbox it first time, take a look at it for you guys, and then we're going to go out fishing and put it to the test. Right, well, we're on our trusty Totally Awesome pool table. Hopefully you guys can see this. So here's the box that it comes in, fairly well packaged. Kind of looks like one of those new phones that you get. This is obviously what it looks like, so it's pretty well packaged in there. We've got a that's the charger, I guess, that one there, and there's a cigarette lighter one there that goes a car charger with 2 ports, double port. This is the device itself. Only small, very light, which is handy, I guess, if you're casting it out. You wouldn't want it to be heavy, so very light. Obviously comes with a little bag here, a little pouch that you can put it in, and it's got a drawstring there. Oh, it's also got a clip as well, so you can clip it to something. And there's obviously your charging cable that goes either into the back of this for the car charger, which I think is a really good idea, because if you're moving between trips, or if you're low on battery, you can charge it up in the car. Now there's obviously a guide and instructions in here. Now at the top here you can see it's got boat, bridge and shore, and I believe if we peel this off, and that's got 3 different areas where I guess you put these, which are the kind of grip points for it, and you twist them in. So the boat was at the top, remember, and this is, I guess, to see how much it sits in the water. You've got to make it sit in the water at the right angle, because the sonar comes out of these 2 metal pieces here. So it's sitting like that with the logo up in the water, and if you're on a boat, you're higher up, it would go there. So different fixing points, I guess, and it says here it's waterproof, it's completely sealed. Now to charge it, I believe if you twist like this, you can see it's tight, so there's obviously a good seal there. Open it up like this, and it's even got a thing that gives you an instructions: charge every 2 months, just to keep it charged. And there I can see is a USB port, mini USB port, which I guess is where you plug it into charge. Now I think it's important you probably make sure it's fully charged to begin with. There you go, that plugs in like that, and this end plugs into the charger at the top up here. So I guess you charge that, fully charge it before you go out, especially if you're fishing. You want a full charged battery. Now this works via Bluetooth, this device. Now Bluetooth's on your mobile phone. Most mobile phones have them nowadays. So you've got to turn your Bluetooth on, and it works via an app. You see apps for everything nowadays, and it works via an app. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire up the app, and I believe on the app it's got a simulation that you can run. So we'll run the simulation before we go out fishing, just so we can have a little look at it and get a rough idea of how to use it, so that I'm ready to use it when I go out fishing. So let's take a look at the app. Well, I've got the app downloaded here. Downloaded it. It's a free app downloaded from the App Store. It's called Deeper. So I click the app there. It's got a nice home screen, and it says here, Deeper was not found. Please select one of the options above. The reason why it's not found: A, I've not got my Bluetooth turned on, and B, the actual device itself doesn't turn on until you put it in the water, till it touches water, which I think is really clever, because it kind of saves battery, really. So we'll test the actual device out later, but what we can do is have a look at the simulation, because they have a simulation on the app. So I'm going over to Start over here, and this is great. If I go to Settings in the top right hand corner, up here, and then scroll down, and just at the bottom here I can see the words Run Simulation. So I'm going to press Run Simulation, and it's coming through here. I can already see depth reading 7.2 meters up here, 7 meters. Then I've got 21 degrees. It's got the Celsius, the temperature. I can hear the beeps, which are fish icons coming in here, and it's giving me the depth reading. It's pinging me the depth reading of the fish that it's located. So 4.6 meters, 4.9 meters. I can see the bottom. Now I can't quite, that beeping there is flashing up here. It looks like the depth's getting shallower, so I guess I've got a depth warning there as well when it gets shallower, which is handy if you're in a boat and you need to know when you're getting too shallow for the propellers or things like that. This is giving me a basic, it's just a simulation obviously, it's giving me a basic overline here of the depth and the contour of the bottom. What I'd like to know is the composition, and that's what's great about this, is over here, there's a small kind of settings tab, and if you press that, up here you've got different settings, it's got smart imaging. I'm on the basic setting at the moment. Now it's got detailed here, so I'm going to select detailed, and instantly I can see on the sounder, look at the detail it's giving me now. I can see at the bottom there's green, which I guess is the composition of the bottom, which is weed. Now that's handy for finding areas of weed patches, or even if you're carp fishing, areas of clear patches in between weed. So if you're casting out. So that's really, really helpful there. And I can see the depths on the side, it automatically changes the depth. Big fish arch there. And looks like what could be a shoal of fish, or in with weed, floating weed up there. And the great thing is over here, if you come over here, it's got like a clock. And if you press that clock, it gives me a history. And I can scroll along here. And if it spotted a fish further back, I can scroll back like this on my history, and there, look, I can see where the fish were located, and it even gives me the time at which I located them, which I think is really good. And I believe you can change your history settings. You can even change. You can see the difference there between the basic setting and the detailed setting. So you can turn the alarms on and off. If I go back into the settings, oh, there's a big arch there, so we've come up really shallow. If I go into the settings up at the top here, loads of different options I can do. I can change the units, so metric, imperial, fathoms, or mixed. I can change the frequency. Now this is quite important. I can do it at a wide beam, or I can do the narrow beam. Now the narrow beam, what that does is it gives you more detail. Okay, but it covers a smaller area because it's the beam of the ping speed almost is narrower, but the wide beam will cover a greater area but give me less detail, which you could use to your advantage in different situations. Now the reason it's beeping when it was the depth, I've got my depth alarms on, so that was obviously set at 5 meters. So anything below 5 meters would probably beep up, and that's why it's beeped me when it went below 5 meters. I can change that to well up to 40 meters, I think. The fish alarms there, when it locates different sized fish, it gives you a beep. You can turn them on and off as well. Fish depth, when I got those depth reading from those fish, again, you can turn those on and off as well. Vertical flasher, that's quite good for different sonar readings. Brightness, you can change the brightness. The data history, that was the bit we looked at a minute ago. And that you can go up to 15 minutes back on your data history, which I think is really, really handy. And then you can actually connect a number of different Deeper devices to the same app. And the other good thing is on this screen here, it's got a calendar. So if I tap calendar, it can give me all the different kind of, I think, tides and things like that on the calendar. And then it's got a weather app as well linked to it, which is brilliant. So for my current location, it gives me the moon phases, the temperature, wind speed, everything like that, all on the app itself. Notes here, if I catch any fish, I can make notes and log it on the calendar. And then over here, maps as well. Now, it probably won't pick me up because I'm indoors, but I guess if you're out on a lake, it can ping where you are in the lake, which is brilliant. And sharing as well there, I guess, where you can share on your social media sites and things like that. So, obviously, a really, really detailed and well thought through app. And I like the fact that you can have a simulation just to have a go at it and play with the different settings. You can mute it as well if you get sick of that beeping. You can put it on mute, and you can change the sensitivity as well. There's plenty of stuff you can do on it. It's really versatile. So what we're going to do now is, the other thing as well, I've got it loaded here on my iPhone, just so you can see what it looks like on the iPhone. So again, really good detail, runs really well and things like that. And I can see it's got Bluetooth signal up there. It shows me the signal of, because obviously it runs by Bluetooth. The further you cast it, the less signal you'll get, I guess. And it's got my the percentage of the Deeper device, the battery. So that's really good as well. What I will do, in fact, when I take this out, is I've got a spare. I've got someone calling me. It's a friend, obviously. I'm very popular. What I will do is I'll take a spare. I'm going to use my phone for this one, but I will take a spare power. They're called power bank things that you can plug your phone in. Just because Bluetooth devices, wireless, things like that, they do tend to drain your phone battery. I've got an iPhone 4S, it's over 2 years old, so the battery life isn't great on it. So I always have a kind of backup battery charger for this. But I believe you can cast it out to nearly 50 metres. Now I'm going to a place called Old Berry Hill Lake today with Dad, and we're going to test it out. We're going to go Zander fishing, a species I've never caught before. So what it is this isn't necessarily going to catch you more fish. What it will do is it will put you on the spots that are likely to hold fish. So fish holding areas and areas where fish might be. And that's what's really important, because there's probably those of you out there going, oh, that's rubbish, that's cheating, you need basic watercraft skills. Of course, you're going to need watercraft skills, that's just part of fishing. But what this can do is it can narrow it down for you. And for those of you who don't have the time sometimes, when you're going fishing, you go to work, you don't have the time, this could be really handy, especially if you've got sort of a day's fishing. Have a cast about, you can get a really good idea of the area you're fishing, and hopefully it might pick up a few of the fish holding areas for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Old Berry Hill Lake, do some Zander fishing. We're going to go start fishing in the day, and they're not really daytime fish, they're more nighttime fish, I've heard. So we're going to give it a go and let's see what this can produce. Well, I'm down here at Old Berry Hill Lakes, and I'm going to give this little bad boy a go. So I've got it all charged up. I've got 25-pound braid here. I've got a big, it's a spinning rod, but it's a real thick rod. It casts 20 to 50 grams, so it's easily going to cast this. I'm not looking to punch it out miles. 25-pound braid, and I've just done a real strong knot there. In hindsight, I'd probably have used a snap swivel or link swivel. I would have used there and clipped that onto it, but I've just gone with what I've got. 25-pound braid will be fine. So I'm not going to be casting it out in the middle of the lake, because I don't think that's where the Zander would be. They're going to be near the snags and everything like that. And what I'm looking for, I'm not looking for this to find me fish. Okay, they don't necessarily just find you fish. I'm looking for what's down on that lake bed below. I want to know the composition. I want to know the depth, the water temperature. They're my main priority. So I'm going to cast this out and get an idea of the depth over by those trees behind me. And that way I can cast my sprat out there with the float and just see if there's any predators lurking around. So let's give it a go. Right, well, I've cast the Deeper Fishfinder out there now, and the great thing is it actually turns itself, it kind of turns on when you cast out, when it hits the water. So I've cast it out near the snags, I've got it set there. I'm now going to go to my phone and go to the Deeper app to open it up. So it's just connecting, it's connected now, and there we go. Here comes the contour of the bottom. It's staying up here 0.9 metres, so roughly that's pretty much a metre deep where I've cast it. Now I can see already vegetation showing here. I've got this on the narrow setting, so it's going to give me lots of detail, quite high frequency, and I can see there, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but there is some vegetation going through there. So I'm not moving it, this is just scrolling over because it's floating there, this is just scrolling over the same patch. So this isn't me moving the Deeper unit out there at all, this is just exactly what it looks like under that patch where it is. So I've got my battery percentage at the top there, 85%, my Bluetooth signal there as well. It's telling me the water temperature is 13 degrees C, which is pretty warm for this time of year. We're at right at the end of October now, so that's warm temperature this time of year. And yeah, obviously I've got the depth there. Now, to me, that's looking quite fishy there, those weedy patches there. So I'm definitely going to have a cast with the sprat on the float in exactly where I've cast this Deeper unit. Now I'm not going to keep casting this Deeper unit around, because, especially around the snags, because it's probably likely to spook the fish. So just 1 or 2 casts probably, and just to different areas, just so I can get an idea of the bottom, the contours. So there's the bottom there. It's great because you can change, there's a setting here I can press, and then I can change the sensitivity and turn it right down. Yes, it will give me less detail, but it can help save battery and things like that. And then I've also got fish icons there. Now if fish have swim bladders, that's the way it picks them up. So if if a fish swam under that, or it picked a fish up, it can then beep to my phone and send a signal to my phone to notify me that I have a fish, which I showed you in that simulation earlier back at home. I'm quite confident at the moment that I might get a fish there. So I'm going to get my rigs hooked up, get my bait sorted, and I'm going to cast right out onto that spot. Right, so I'm slowly, really slowly retrieving the deeper now, and hopefully on the screen. The reason I'm doing it slowly as well is I don't want bow waves or anything or water going over the top of it to affect the Bluetooth signal coming to the unit, to my phone. So I'm just doing it nice and slow, and hopefully you guys can see on the app there the depth changing. It's not going to change a huge amount, I don't think, because it's relatively shallow around this area, but you might see the bottom composition change. It might go from weed to maybe a sort of blank patch, which would more likely be some silt. But I'm getting about probably about 6 yards away from the boat now, so I'm pretty close to the boat. I'm guessing it's maybe over a metre now, maybe 1.3 or something like that. Just so I can get an idea in my mind of the drop off from the island shelf.
Fish on, Mike. Fish on.
So Dad just tells me, I'll just take that rod there and give it a twitch.
Nice and smooth, nice and smooth, nice and smooth. We don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. I don't think it's huge because it's kicking a lot, but...
Just keep the pressure on it.
Where's the net?
We've got nothing organised. We're doing the echo
He's already here. I want to see what it is. I don't know what it is.
There's the float, guys.
There's the float. Something's definitely on there. What is this fish?
Well, it's not a decent
Could it be a Z?
Well, not that easy, surely.
Oh, give me the...
I've got no net. Hang on, guys. Mike is on to his first head. It's going to be a PP, nice and smooth.
Just to prove it.
I just saw a flash of it then. That's all I saw. I saw his eye then. Slowly. Get in, my beauty. That's a nice head one. I told you it's
a nice fish.
It's a nice one, man.
Look at that, fellas. In the net. My first ever Zander. I've never seen one in real life, let alone caught one. I'm going to get it on the unhooking mat.
Yeah, he looks decent.
And let's show you guys, and we'll get it weighed as well. A totally awesome Zander, folks. Unbelievable. Look at the size of that eye. You can see they're night predators. That is awesome. That is a totally awesome predator right there. You see the vampire-like fangs at the front. And I tell you what, they've got a really rough skin. They remind me of a shark.
So they're not slimy?
No, one way's really smooth and one way's really, really rough. Moment of truth, fellas. We are clear, and we're looking at £5 5 ounce.
Really? That's not bad.
Absolutely made up with that. £5 5 ounce.
5.
That is awesome. Let's have one last look at it quickly.
Vampire fish.
Absolutely, vampire fish. They do call it the vampire fish. How awesome is that? Look at those teeth, man.
I like his fin.
Yeah, that dorsal
here.
That dorsal, if you get it out of
here. Oh, it's spiky too.
Yeah, huge dorsal. Right, let's get it back. The other great thing about this app is it's got a history button there. So I can push this button down here in the bottom left, and it gives me a little slider bar here, which gives me all the history for the last, I've set it to 10 minutes. I think you can go a maximum of 15 minutes of your last pre-recorded history. So I've got the depth there at 1.8, and it even gives you the time of when exactly that recording was. So I'm going back here now. This disturbance here is more than likely where I had moved to the sonar, and it's just had water go over it, lap over the top of it, so the Bluetooth connection may have been affected. But there is weed there as well, so that's looking like kind of rough ground. And then same again there. And the really interesting thing which I found is we're coming up 1.2 meters here, so we're coming up to the depth where I hooked that Zander, which was about a meter or 0.9. There's weed there up near the snags. And this is brilliant, look, right there. The Deeper Fishfinder has identified a fish at 0.8 of a metre. I hooked mine at 0.9, and there is weed, and you can see a sort of drop off there as well. So that's pretty awesome. No denying it's quite accurate. And to be honest, I wasn't really trolling it around. I just was casting and leaving it there just to find little pockets, and it certainly worked. Well, there you go, folks. Caught my first ever Zander, and can I say that this device worked? Yes, it definitely helped put me on that spot. Bright daylight conditions, really against me, and I just managed to find that weedy area right in the snags, and thankfully I landed my first ever Zander, which is totally awesome. Now, I think it's a great product. I'm probably going to use this a bit more. I'd love to use it pier fishing, I think, going around the edges of piers and looking for kind of deep holes, things like that. River fishing as well, I think, for barbel, finding those barbel holes and just letting it trot down the river. I think that would be really good. And possibly carp fishing as well, to help find me areas in between weed. I've found probably you don't need to cast it miles. For me, I'd say 20 metres, 15, 20 metres work best for me. I'm not going to look to cast it, 50 metres really. I'm happy with 15, 20 metres. That was the ideal distance where it worked. Really cool piece of kit. If you guys want to give it a go, give it a go. I think it's pretty awesome.